feeling the pressure now to win in California as we await her foreign policy speech. It's going to happen in San Diego moments from now. Her team scheduling 30 campaign events in just 5 days. This comes as recent polling shows Clinton is running neck and neck with Senator Bernie Sanders. Her lead is down to just 2%. California voters hit the polls on Tuesday. More than 500 delegates are at stake. Tony Sayegh is a Fox News contributor. Bernard Whitman, former Bill Clinton pollster and CEO of Whitman Insight Strategies. Before I get to California, let's preview this speech that's upcoming. Bernard, let me start with you because this is your candidate, Hillary Clinton. She's going to come out swinging. She's going to say about Donald Trump that he's a fraud, that he's unqualified, that he's dangerous, that he's a loose cannon. I'm assuming that you agree with all that, but doesn't she also have those same negatives against her and her time as Secretary of State?
No, she has never said the things that Donald Trump has said, and she's going to use Donald Trump's words against him. Like, for example, right after the Brussels attack, maybe we should pull out of NATO. That would be a good idea. Or how about giving South Korea and Japan nuclear weapons? Or here's another one. In the fight against ISIS, why don't we ban all Muslims from coming into the country when those are exactly the people that we need to form a coalition to fight ISIS? So I think the choice is actually quite clear. You have someone who is unsteady, unhinged, and clearly unqualified, who potentially could be leading the free world and have his figure on the nuclear trigger. That would be really scary.
It's interesting, Tony, because the word unqualified, I think, is one that we're going to hear on both sides of the camp between now and November, unless Sanders somehow wins this nomination or she gets indicted. Because Trump's going to say she's unqualified because of Benghazi and other things. She's apparently going to say he's unqualified for some of the reasons Bernard just said.
Yeah, Trump's words aren't a fraction as dangerous to the future of the American foreign policy as Clinton's record with Obama for 8 years, which has put the world, frankly, in complete distress, has put the American position abroad in a much weaker state. We have now Iran closer to us than our traditional allies in the Middle East, as in the Saudis, the Israelis, the Egyptians. The entire Middle East now is chaotic because of a very flawed foreign policy that even Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton fought over during the administration. And the problem for her, and I think it links to a bit of the email gate too, is one of the issues is that she put at risk American national security secrets by housing this private server. That's one of the most violent, or rather volatile parts of this whole FBI report. So Hillary Clinton could talk all she wants about words Trump has said, maybe some insults. Her record is what's made us, frankly, unsafe, and especially these hacking attempts from foreign governments and other agents from abroad that put our state secrets at risk.
Isn't that ironic? Isn't it ironic that she's going to give a speech about national security when, in fact, it could prove true that her email server was a national security risk?
This has been investigated continuously for months and months and months.
It's not over yet.
And not a single shred of evidence came out in the ID report that suggested that the data was compromised, that there were security leaks, security breaches.
You had Lucifer.
Absolutely false.
You had Lucifer saying that he did it.
Let's talk about the IG report. There were hack attempts
over and over and over again. This is the only
we haven't heard from the FBI yet.
The Obama appointed IG confirmed there were hacking attempts that she never reported to the federal government, that she had this entire operation was not ever approved. If you could excuse me for 1 second, this entire operation was never approved and wasn't even made aware to the administration. She basically ran her own claim. That's what it said.
The IG's report says dozens of people knew about this. She followed the precedent of secretaries of state prior to her. And the rules were not clarified. The rules were not clarified until after she left.
Condoleezza Rice did not have a private server at her home. Madeleine Albright did not have a private server at her home. Kerry did not have a private server at his home, and either did
Was it a national security breach? No, absolutely not. There's not a shred of evidence to suggest that it was. And if this is the only thing you have to litigate her against, good luck, because you've got an unhinged fraud running against her.
But you may not have a candidate, because what if she's indicted?
The odds of her being indicted are as much as the odds of me going to the moon in the next 48 hours. It's not going to happen.
Look, this nothing to see attitude from Democrats is what's put Hillary in peril in the first place, which is why they don't even see the threat from their own party and Bernie Sanders on the left. People don't believe any of this. They're blatantly making up claims that are contradicted by facts constantly.
No one believed it. Why did she have
Guys,
13 million people voting for her?
Keep that thought in your head right now, Bernard, because, sorry to order you, but you gotta, because we're still waiting for Hillary Clinton. We've been told she's on site. So now we really are just moments away. Her speech and more of Tony and Bernard when we come back. So we are still awaiting Hillary Clinton. She's set to deliver a major foreign policy address in San Diego, California, any minute now. She's moments from being introduced. Still with us, Tony Sayegh, Fox News contributor, Bernard Whitman, former Bill Clinton pollster, CEO of Whitman Insight Strategies. You know, before Hillary Clinton really started working close to President Obama, she was thought of as being more centrist on foreign policy. And I'm wondering today if you think that she is actually going to try to delineate herself from some of President Obama's policies and come back more to the center in the hopes of getting independent voters and others.
Well, I believe that's true, and I believe actually in her core she is more of a pragmatist and more of a bit to the right on matters of foreign policy and national security, and I absolutely applaud that. I've always been in that same position. I think she's going to start to lay out a more aggressive foreign policy approach with respect to ISIS, with respect to dealing with some of our adversaries, and I think that that's absolutely appropriate. When you join the cabinet, you have to fall in line behind the president. He is the chief executive. She was serving as Secretary of State, so she was limited in her ability to differ with him, although I think she did push him to be aggressive in certain areas behind the scenes. I think in the next few months, as she has done in the previous few months, you're going to start to see a more distinct Clinton-type doctrine on national security and foreign policy.
Okay, let's just point to our screen right now, because while we're waiting for Hillary Clinton with all the flags there on your monitor, you can also see Bernie Sanders is now giving a rally speech in Modesto, California. Tony, let's just talk about California for a moment, because, wow, Hillary Clinton only up by 2 points in the latest poll, up on Bernie Sanders. She was up by double digits just a short time ago. Yeah. What happens if Sanders wins California?
The Democrats who support Clinton and the establishment like to suggest that math is the only part of the story and that she's going to numerically get these delegates. That might be true. But then there's 2 months between California and the convention. And those 2 months, if Bernie Sanders win, are going to create utter chaos for Hillary Clinton as she tries to consolidate the Democratic base. And look, Bernard, you could laugh it off. I don't blame you for doing that. But the reality is going to be we already see that she's been a flawed candidate. There are other reasons to believe she may be a fatally flawed candidate. And again, the ongoing investigations into the server and the email gate, into the Clinton Foundation contributions while she was Secretary of State, all feed into this Bernie Sanders narrative that she can't beat the Republican Donald Trump in a general election. And, you know, Steve Forbes actually wrote about this. There is an actual clause in the Democratic platform that allowed delegates to change their vote solely on the basis of their conscience. So whether or not it's Sanders, there is a possibility that this convention could become chaotic because people losing faith in Hillary.
Some of the superdelegates changed their mind last time around. They went with Obama after they had originally pledged to Hillary Clinton. But here's the thing, Bernard. Wouldn't you maybe want in the back of your mind Bernie Sanders instead of Hillary Clinton? Because all the polls show that Bernie Sanders actually beats Trump, whereas Trump and Hillary Clinton are neck and neck.
No, because I don't support Bernie Sanders' big government socialist types approaches to solving the problems that we have in America. I think he's brought a great voice to the party, but he's far too much to the left for me and for most people. The fact is, the race is going to be in California is going to be very close. The nomination is not. She's 71 delegates shy. By the end of Tuesday, she's going to likely have nearly 400 additional delegates. She's got 3 million more votes than Bernie.
Take the math out. How is she going to bridge the gap? There are tons of Sanders voters who are saying they're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. In fact, some of them in exit polls say they're going to vote for Donald Trump.
So in the latest polling, 90% of Democrats say they're going to support Hillary. And to be fair to Trump, 86% of Republicans say they're going to vote for Trump. The fight is going to be over the independents, over the people in the middle. That's where elections in this country are always fought. The reason why Bernie has done so well is so many primaries in the Democratic Party are open. It's the independents who Hillary's going to have to win over. This was true before Sanders. It's going to be true after Sanders.
It becomes complicated, Bernard, for her to consolidate the Democratic base if she's going into Philadelphia, having lost, I think, 15 out of the last 17 contests, especially a state with the size of California, with the amount of delegates at stake. And Bernie Sanders is going to win more than just California on Tuesday, by the way. There's other states like Montana and others that are going to continue to feed into this idea that she's excuse me for one moment, that she's never been able to close the case. And because she gets to win kind of by default,
and just coming off of that, Bernard,
it's not a strong position.
She was winning 55 to 43. Obama was a razor-thin margin ahead of Hillary Clinton at this time, and he blew the door.
And he was a much more formidable opponent.
Many people believe that Hillary Clinton should be trouncing Trump right now, but she's not. So there's got to be something else going on there, and I think a lot of it has to do with being honest and trustworthy. This was going to be in my take today, but I'm going to talk about it now, because in this most recent poll, Trump was found to be more honest and trustworthy, 44 to 39. Trump was seen to be a stronger leader, 49 to 45. More inspiring, 48 to 39. Okay, now people vote on emotions, right?
But in fairness, Hillary Clinton was seen to be more qualified, more prepared, and better able to handle the responsibilities of the office, and also who you would turn to in a crisis, and having better moral character. So those are also key issues that people use to judge the presidency.
Leadership, economy, and terrorism, Trump beats her.
But economy, so that's my next point. He's beating her at creating jobs 52 to 41%. Now, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. People vote with their pocketbooks, Bernard. So if I haven't seen one poll where she's beating him on the economy or creating jobs.
You know what? That's why I think this narrative of Trump University is so powerful, because if we want to entrust the economy the way people in Trump University entrusted their lives to Donald Trump, he took them for a complete ride. It was an absolute scam. He swindled them, and he's going to swindle the American people in the exact same way and leave the country bankrupt, just like he left Trump University.
You got the talking points from Hillary Clinton. That's exactly what she said yesterday.
She hasn't been calling me.
Tony, respond to that.
And it's such a non-issue. Look, when you really look at the Obama-Clinton record on the economy, on foreign policy and national security, it's been a failure, which is why 65% of Americans believe consistently since the fall that we've been going in the wrong direction, heading in the wrong track. Here's the problem with the Bernie Sanders voters, by the way. It's not they'll vote for Trump. It's they won't show up. And the enthusiasm gap, particularly for Hillary among younger voters, voters under 40, even young single women, is extraordinarily high. So if she's fighting to the finish with Bernie Sanders and not able to really solidify her base because it's so close in California and he's winning the narrative, she's going to have a bigger problem than them voting for Trump. She's going to have the problem of them not voting at all.
Okay, you can see activity now at the podium. This is the woman who's going to introduce Hillary Clinton. Before we get to Hillary Clinton, though, Bernard, one other question. In this latest Quinnipiac poll, you brought up independents. Now, this is a shorter gap than it was before, but Trump is still beating Hillary in independents by 3 percentage points. That's going to decide the election.
That is absolutely going to decide the election. I think the real challenge for Hillary Clinton, and if you look at the internals in that poll, it lays it out in quite clear form, is to reach out to independents and inspire them with her vision for America, of bringing people together, of building on this economy, of building on the success. And by the way, to Tony's point, Barack Obama has his highest approval rating of 53% now than he has in 4 years.
Yep.
So when
no one's paying attention to him.
That's true.
Because no one's paying attention to him.
When people judge him versus Trump,
Hillary was
oh my God,
when no one was paying
Obama
attention to her.
so bad, and Hillary Clinton is the candidate.
Continue your debate in the elevator. Got to wrap the real story today. Hillary Clinton's speech coming up along with Shep. I'm Gretchen. Have a great day.